students, welcome to our lesson for this week, which is simplifying expressions with rational exponents. For this lesson, our goal is to simplify expressions with rational exponents. But what do you mean by rational exponents? These are exponents that are rational numbers. Do you remember what is a rational number? Rational number is a number that can be expressed as the quotient p over q of two integers such that q is not equal to 0. Some examples are 2 over 3, 1 half, 2 over 5, 5 over 3, and many more. Before we proceed to our main lesson, let us review on operations on rational numbers. Let us perform the indicated operation number 1, 5 times 1/3. To answer this, just multiply 5 to the numerator 1 and then copy the denominator 3. So that is equal to 5 over 3. Number 2, 3 over 5 plus 1 over 5 plus 2 over 5. Do you still remember how to add these rational numbers? As you notice, all of them has the same denominators. To add them, just add the numerators 3 plus 1 plus 2, which is equal to 6, and then copy the denominator, which is equal to 5. So our answer is 6 over 5. Number 3, 3 over 4 plus 5 over 8. In this situation, the rational numbers have different denominators. Remember that we can only add or subtract rational numbers if they have the same denominators. So, what are we going to do? Before we perform addition, we need to look for the least common multiple of 4 and 8. Do you know how to do it? It's simple. Let us just put 4 and 8 in an L shape, 4 and 8. Then look for any possible factors of 4 and 8. Let's try 2. 4 divided by 2 is equal to 2. 8 divided by 2 is equal to 4. Observe 2 and 4. Since they have still a factor which is equal to 2, so let's continue the process. 2 divided by 2 is equal to 1. 4 divided by 2 is equal to 2. 1 and 2 do not have a factor anymore except 1. So let's stop here. To find the least common multiple, we need to get the product of 2 and 2 and 2. So that is equal to 8. So our least common multiple is equal to 8, and that will serve as our least common denominator. Then we're going to divide this denominator to each of the denominators of the rational numbers. Then multiply to the numerator. 8 divided by 4 is equal to 2 times 3 plus 8 divided by 8 is equal to 1 times 5. Then simplify. 2 times 3 is equal to 6 plus 1 times 5 is equal to 5. Then copy the denominator, which is equal to 8. Then proceed to addition of numerators. 6 plus 5 is equal to 11. Then copy the denominator, which is equal to 8. So our answer is 11 over 8. Number 4, 2 over 3 minus 1 over 5. The same case with number 3, they have different denominators. So we need to look for the least common multiple between 3 and 5. But as you notice, 3 and 5 do not have a common factor anymore except 1. So in order to find the LCM or least common multiple, we need to get the product of 3 and 5, which is equal to 15. And that will serve as our least common denominator. 15 divided by 3 is equal to 5 times 2 minus 15 divided by 5 is equal to 3 times 1. 5 times 2 is equal to 10 minus 3 times 1 is equal to 3. Then copy the denominator, which is equal to 15. Then proceed to subtraction of numerator. 10 minus 3 is equal to 7. Then copy the denominator, which is equal to 15. So our answer is 7 over 15. Now, let's proceed to our main lesson. To simplify expressions with rational exponents, we are guided with the following law of exponents. Number 1, a raised to m raised to n is equal to a raised to m times n, or which is known as the power rule. Number 2, a raised to m times a raised to n is equal to a raised to m plus n, or which is known as the product rule. Number 3, a raised to m over a raised to n is equal to a raised to m minus n, or known as the quotient rule. To continue, let us simplify the following expressions. Number 1, 5 raised to 2 raised to 1 half. To answer this, we will be using the power rule, which is a raised to m raised to n is equal to a raised to m times n. So from 5 raised to 2 raised to 1 half, it will become 5 raised to 2 times 1 half. Then we will going to simplify the rational exponent. So it will become 5 raised to 2 over 2. Simplifying it, that is equal to 5. So our answer is equal to 5. Number 2, 7 raised to 2 thirds times 7 raised to 1 half. To answer this, we will be using the product rule, which is a raised to m times a raised to n is equal to a raised to m plus n. So from 7 raised to 2 thirds times 7 raised to 1 half, it will become 7 raised to 2 thirds plus 1 half. Then simplify the rational exponents by looking at the least common denominator, which is equal to 6. Then 6 divided by 3 is equal to 2 times 2 is equal to 4. 6 divided by 2 is equal to 3 times 1, which is equal to 3. Simplifying it again, our final answer is 7 raised to 7 over 6. Number 3, x raised to 1 thirds times 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 x raised to 1 thirds. To simplify this, we will just add the numerators and then copy the common denominator. So that is equal to x raised to 6 over 3. Then simplifying this, the final answer is x raised to 2. Number 4, 5 raised to 2 thirds over 5 raised to 1 fourth. To answer this, we will be using the quotient rule, which is a raised to m over a raised to n is equal to a raised to m minus n. So from 5 raised to 2 thirds over 5 raised to 1 fourth, it will become 5 raised to 2 thirds minus 1 fourth. Then simplify the rational exponents. So that is 5 raised to 8 minus 3 over 12. Simplifying it again, our final answer is 5 raised to 5 over 12. Number 5, 7 raised to 2 raised to 1 fourth times 7 raised to 1 half. To answer this, let us simplify first 7 raised to 2 raised to 1 fourth. That is equal to 7 raised to 2 over 4. Then, bring down 7 raised to 1 half. 7 raised to 2 over 4 is the same as 7 raised to 1 half. Then times 7 raised to 1 half. Simplify the rational exponents. It will give us 7 raised to 1 plus 1 over 2. Simplifying it again, we have 7 raised to 2 over 2. 2 over 2 is equal to 1, so our final answer is 7. Number 6, y raised to 1 half divided by y raised to 3 fourths. This is similar with number 4, so we will be using also the quotient rule. So this will become y raised to 1 half minus 3 fourths. Then simplify the rational exponents. That will give us y raised to 2 minus 3 over 4. Simplifying it again, it will give us y raised to negative 1 over 4.